Hello Indie Warriors and welcome to I Dream of Indie Games. Old Gamer Joe here, and I feel like too often we forget that at the end of the day, video games are supposed to be a fun escape. They don't always need to be deadly serious and can offer up some really serious laughs. In fact, whether it's comedy movies or silly games, today it can feel like humor is sometimes a lost art. But leave it to the indie gaming scene to carry the comedic torch, as today we have 10 hilarious indie game releases that will have you laughing your butt off. And hey, we like to keep it fun and lighthearted here at I Dream of Indie Games too, so if you'd like to support independent content, head over to patreon.com/idreamofindiegames and gain Discord access to the greatest indie gaming community, enjoy early ad-free shows, receive a shout-out at the end of every video we produce, a podcast 3 days early, and so much more. Your new indie gaming community is waiting for you. First on our list of over-the-top games is Alpaca Ball Allstars, a game that isn't funny so much for its writing, but rather its ridiculous over-the-top premise. It doesn't hurt that it's a pretty fun game to play too. As someone who loves alpacas and even has a sister that owns an alpaca farm, Alpaca Ball All-Stars instantly called to my heart. I also enjoy over-the-top arcade sports titles that don't take themselves very seriously, and if it wasn't obvious, this release more than fits that bill. Almost anyone can pick up and play Alpaca Ball All-Stars with basic controls including the ability to jump, dash, shoot, perform power shots, and backward shots. Things are going to feel a little floaty, as you might expect, only adding to the hilarity that will ensue. The game allows for up to 8 players total in 4v4 matches, but there are also options for 1v1 and 2v2. If multiplayer isn't your thing, there's also a full career mode available which features a wide variety of different challenges to complete. For as silly as it looks, Alpaca Ball is a well-made game with great ball physics, a simplistic but effective visual style, and hilarious sound design that fits the overall vibe perfectly. Sadly, the game only has around 57 user reviews on Steam, leading me to believe that it never found a significant audience. That said, the game is also available on consoles and would be a perfect, hilarious addition to your next party night. Next on our list, let's keep with the animal thing and shout out Chicken Police, Paint It Red, a detective noir adventure game meets visual novel that only half takes itself seriously. You'll play as Sonny Featherland, a rooster that's getting ready for his big retirement from the police force, when suddenly he's sucked back in for potentially one last case. Though this game did get a sequel, so maybe it wasn't his last case. It definitely wasn't. Alongside his partner, Marty McChicken, the two must use their deductive skills to solve a variety of different puzzles and cases. This is another game that is very easy to play, with most of the controls involving basic pointing and clicking to get through various interrogations. There's a good amount of different areas to explore, full of hilarious characters to get information out of. The noir city setting is really well done with striking black and white visuals that bring the world to life. It's well written, and while it's hard not to laugh over the fact that the characters have animal heads on human bodies, there is in fact a deeper story here that I thought was rather impressive, given the concept of, Chicken Police. If you were or are a fan of buddy cop movies, I think you'll find plenty to like about Chicken Police Paint It Red, and you'll also be laughing all along the way. The witty humor and writing easily make this one acceptable for a list such as this, and I personally still need to try the sequel for myself. Our next entry would also work well on a hidden indie gems list. I probably included it on one now that I think about it, but because it is so hilarious, it deserves another shout out here. This is 9 Witches Family Disruption, a fascinating take on the point-and-click genre. 9 Witches takes place during World War II and puts you in the shoes of Professor Alexei Krakovitz, who has supernatural abilities, and Akiro Kagasawa, his assistant who possesses, pun intended, combat skills. The two are heading off to Norway, where they must stop an evil threat. While the initial premise may seem to take itself seriously, spend a few minutes playing 9 Witches and you soon realize how outlandish and funny it actually is. With an onslaught of below-the-belt humor, the game calls back to point-and-click classics such as Monkey Island in the best possible way. It's all a bit crude, yes, but as someone who's a 12-year-old boy at heart, I quite literally had tears streaming down my face throughout various moments of gameplay. It also doesn't hurt that it's a fiendishly fun point-and-click game on its own, with a really unique mechanic. Your soul can leave your body at certain times throughout gameplay. This leads to some really interesting puzzle solutions in a game that point-and-click adventure fans don't want to miss. I hope you like Eggplant, because next on our list is the outlandish indie release Baobabs Mausoleum Grindhouse Edition. This isn't the easiest game to describe, as it combines an insane amount of different genres, everywhere from platformer to RPG. There's 2D segments, puzzles, full 3D environments, and just about everything else. Having previously been released in an episodic format, Baobabs Mausoleum never has a dull moment, telling the many adventures of Waltricio Walpurgis, an eggplant with vampiric traits that is also a police agent. Yes, you heard me right. He's trapped in a ghost town that's said to have appeared 25 years or so ago, and somehow needs to find his way home, escaping this strange world. I'll be honest, the game doesn't play amazingly well, but its laugh-out-loud script often makes up for many of its shortcomings. It also keeps you on your toes, constantly introducing new styles of gameplay that you weren't expecting. Inspired by the works of David Lynch, you really just have to try this one for yourself to truly get it, as words are hard to come by for just how surreal, trippy, and funny the entire package is. But it's well worth adding to your collection. The wacky characters and overall B-movie tone work beautifully. Okay, there's been some funny games on this list so far, but now we're really upping the ante with a release that will have you in stitches for the entire duration of your playtime. DEEEER Simulator, your average everyday deer game. If the purposely blocky, over-the-top 3D visuals didn't give it away, DEEEER Simulator doesn't take itself seriously in the least, beckoning players to destroy everything in sight. You'll technically create a character to start things out, but will quickly be transformed into a deer that can apparently drive and also shoot guns, among other things. The deer's long-reaching neck is funny enough, but this title also features one of the most hilarious run animations of all time. You'll fly through the skies, drive madly, and cause chaos while raising your deer-zaster meter. As the chaos ensues, the police eventually show up, leading to some of the craziest battles you can imagine. There are tons of weapons, so you can have fun to your heart's content in a variety of ways through run-based gameplay. You'll take down cows and just about everything in between, exploring one of the weirdest gaming worlds I've ever encountered. There's no logic here whatsoever, but what I can promise is a whole lot of laughs and fun. This list will only become more and more unhinged as we go, so prepare yourselves. Next we have About an Elf, which, well, just look at it. It's an RPG meets visual novel meets point-and-click adventure title where you play as Dam on a quest to stop the King of Terrors. You are accompanied by your cowardly cat companion named Roland. This is a strange premise on its own, but throughout the game you're also being rewarded jelly beans for sharing your stories with another odd character named Dido. There's some great offbeat writing throughout, fun character interactions, making for an endlessly entertaining experience that even has you making choices from time to time. It's a pretty linear experience for the most part, however, with bizarre pointing and clicking to be done and turn-based battles reminiscent of classic role-playing games. Kinda, sort of. The art is just as offbeat as the rest of the game, almost reminding me of Killer Instinct and Donkey Kong Country with their pre-rendered nature. You just don't get many visual novel experiences quite like this one, and while it does run a bit long, there's enough fun dialogue throughout to keep you playing until the end. Things get stranger too, as while at the time of this video the game is only available on Switch to my knowledge, it is somehow slated for a Steam release later this year. Now talk about a strange coincidence, that was not planned at all. So your mileage may vary with this one, but I personally found the action-adventure game Wife Quest to be rather amusing. And surprisingly, it's a decently fun gameplay experience too. In Wife Quest, you'll play as Mia, who tracks down monsters throughout various levels, making plenty of boob, butt, and dick jokes along the way. The gameplay starts out simple enough with basic attacking and platforming, but you gain additional abilities as you progress. The platforming is not exceptional, however the combat eventually becomes, dare I say, solid, even allowing players to use a shield to block incoming attacks to add a bit of strategy to things. You can eventually float in the air and even use charge attacks, there's shops to visit where you can upgrade your character and sword, and while the level design isn't amazing, it certainly gets the job done. Heck, there's even a few hidden secrets to find, believe it or not. Make no mistake, Wife Quest isn't an amazing game, especially the woeful boss battles that are beyond frustrating, but I can't deny I had some fun with the game, and that tiny little child that still lives inside me giggled on more than one occasion. If you can get through those dreadful boss encounters, Wife Quest serves up adult humor that will have one crowd rolling their eyes and another laughing their booties off. I know this game is a bit more well-known, but how could I have a list of hilarious indie games and not include Untitled Goose Game? If you live under a rock, Untitled Goose Game was a viral sensation back when it was released, allowing players to complete various objectives playing as an adorable goose. You can cause all sorts of chaos in this title, stealing items from people, honking at them, and being a general nuisance. The addition of a dedicated honk button would go on to inspire countless indie releases that followed. Through the chaos, there is an actual game here, with objectives to complete, but many of us ended up forgetting that aspect, opting to instead just be a pain in the butt for all of the NPCs. Odds are you already knew about this game, but Untitled Goose Game is an essential indie gaming experience, and one that will have you smiling the entire way through. So if you did happen to miss it, you gotta grab this one, at least on a sale at some point. And why not follow one Panic published game with another? No game made us laugh harder last year than Thank Goodness You're Here, a short narrative adventure title where you explore a British town full of unusual denizens. Some of the situations you find yourself in are ridiculous, from being sucked down pipes to milking a cow. Hilarity happens early and often, with the only real gameplay mechanic being the ability to slap random people, which I don't recommend doing in real life. Thank Goodness You're Here combines charming writing with colorful cartoon visuals that look amazing in motion. It's completely off the wall, but in the best possible way. If you fancy yourself just a few hours of high-quality hilarity, then look no further. Playing as a traveling salesman may sound boring on the surface, but I assure you it's anything but. I would note that not every joke here is kid-friendly, just something to be aware of if you are planning to make your playthrough a family event. And last, but certainly not least, this list slaps, right? We have Rose and Camellia Collection on the Nintendo Switch. We talked a bit about how slapping was an element of gameplay in Thank Goodness You're Here, but in Rose and Camellia, slapping more or less is the gameplay. It's not often in more recent times where you see games utilize motion controls, but here you'll wind up your Joy-Cons and swing them forward to smack your foes directly in the face. If that weren't hilarious enough, the noble society surrounding the premise makes things all that much more entertaining. There's a bit of strategy to the game too, as you can't just flail your arms like a madman, rather you need to time each slap for maximum effect. The anime aesthetic works very well here, and the jiggly boob physics when you slap certain characters had me rolling on the ground in tears. There's nothing quite like this one, firmly placing it at the top of this list. So see, humor is alive and well in the indie gaming scene. We hope you found the next release to light up your life, and thank you as always for supporting independent content.